So it's Eamon's work anniversary today. So happy 1 year to Eamon. So, how did you get here?
So, working with ipXchange, this is kind of a weird story. So my background is physics. If you might have noticed in some of the posts I mentioned quantum computing quite a bit. So I did my PhD in quantum computing at the University of Sussex. But I've always liked building things, particularly for musical projects. And I actually wanted to be a design engineer from probably the age of 18, but I didn't really ever do the experience that was required for those roles other than like just pure musical stuff. And I didn't really want to go into military stuff, which seemed like the only option at the time. So starting at ipXchange was at the time I was working as a vegan sushi chef, and I got a call from a recruiter, and they said about a role to do with content creation for a little startup. And my other passion is writing. I write fiction all the time. I've done like 14 graphic novels. I've always wanted to be a writer as well, in lieu of designing products. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'll come in for an interview. I met Rihanna first, so you might have seen her in some of the coverage of CES and the trips to the Silicon Valley. And then Guy came late, which was is a common theme. And I had no idea really by the end of the interview what the job role was. There was no job description. It was just make this a success. ipXchange. And at that time, I think there were 3 articles on the website, and now there's 175 or something like that. But it was quite funny because I had so little idea of what was going on, I decided on a coin flip on the train whether I would take the job, because I had no idea what it was after the interview. But thankfully, the coin flip was in ipXchange's favor, and I think I took a week off after finishing off at the restaurant, and which I did. I loved that job, but this one definitely puts my talents to better use and is very, very fulfilling.
So, what have you learned in this first year?
I mean, I think one of the craziest things is I didn't know what the Internet of Things was explicitly as IoT before starting ipXchange, because to be honest, I'm the type of guy who hangs on to really, really old technology for as long as it will possibly function. So I was using a Samsung S4 Mini when I started, and then I think after the first show EDS, which was the week after Jake joined, I saw some engineers using one of the Z Flip four phones, and I was like, hell yeah, that looks cool. So yeah, it was kind of weird because I was a bit of a technophobe, so I didn't really know much about technology, but I do love learning, and I like electronics. So yeah, just the whole IoT thing. And also, I think that even the developments in AI since I've been at ipXchange have been ridiculous, especially in the public sphere. But like talking to people like Aleph Semiconductor, that's eye-opening. And yeah, so yeah, IoT and AI, probably AIoT.
You mentioned EDS, so I'll ask, what's your best moment at a show since you've been here?
Well, so best moment at a show, probably quite recent, I'd say. I think maybe I can't summarize it as a single best moment, but the fact that now I can walk onto booths and just get an interview without any pre-arrangement, that's a pretty good feeling. Maybe actually when Francois from Authgate kind of said, "It's you," and then pulled me over, and then we got an interview with him, which unfortunately we lost.
That was my fault.
Yeah, which was gutting. But we did. Guy did a IP experience with him afterwards to make up for it, and that's a really cool technology.
So what's your worst show moment then? Probably me losing that footage.
No. So this wasn't actually at the show, but this could have been something which I would have quit over because it freaked me the hell out. Was when we went to EDS. I'm sure Jake will remember. I didn't sleep that night because I thought someone had broken into my room and stolen about £50 worth of our cash for funding the trip. And that was really, really early days. Granted, that wasn't actually at a show. I think the worst moment at a show was, I don't know whose booth it was on. And I'm not going to shame them because I can't remember. But I wanted to chat with a company at Electronica. So this was like the first time we'd really released any footage, so no one knew who ipXchange was. But I was wearing a business suit instead of ipXchange t-shirts and hoodies. And I remember someone came up to me and I was looking at some tech and they just went, "What do you want?" And they were so cold. And it was, they basically got shooed off the booth.
Let's lighten it up a bit by asking what's your best moment at ipXchange, just in general.
I mean, if you saw the TKO, who are like the mother company of ipXchange, did a really nice 1-year anniversary post, and they gave me a Lego bonsai, and which I'm so happy because, that means a lot. It really means a lot. This is the longest time I've been in a company other than my first job as a violin repair, like kind of apprentice. So it's moments like that with the team. Oh, the tacos after the first Hardware Pioneers Max, which was the moment where ipXchange decided that we couldn't ignore the amount of people reaching out to us outside Europe, so we decided to go global. So why not? But it's kind of funny because I decided that a few weeks before, but just hadn't told anyone that I was accepting extra invites.
And in terms of the tech you've seen, give us your top 5 boards in the past year.
Okay, so this one is I've pre-planned this because I knew it was going to be asked. Funnily enough, you'll hear me saying in loads of interviews that I love sensors, but none of these are sensor boards, because the boards themselves for sensors, other than if they've got loads of sensors on, I don't think are as interesting as just some of these boards in terms of how they look and just my personal experience with them because of having a play. So top of the list has to be Elmo's Initium platform with Impetus, the little blue guy in it. Mainly because we met Elmo at Hobby Pioneers Max last year, and they gave me this little game board that you can kind of play Simon on, or use it to roll a dice or play tic-tac-toe. And so it was just kind of a lovely blooming relationship. And for Embedded World, we had this board on our booth, on the ipXchange booth. And back then we weren't trying to do any demos and stuff, live demos. But since I've started playing with the tech, a few of these are ones that I've played with, and it's just been really fun, like having this on my desk all the time. And I'm really crap at it, but playing Doom, because I've noticed that that's a common theme at shows, is you can always find somewhere to play Doom at a show.
That's true.
Definitely at the NL Tech booth. And that's been a great relationship too with Sean from NL Tech.
What's next?
Next board is, we don't have it, but Tower Glass's Universe board. So we'll be hosting an interview with David from Tower Glass soon, from Hardware Pioneers Max. But I just really like that board. It's a little antenna board, but it's got these little controllable switches on it that you can just use to tune the antenna for like loads of different frequencies. Obviously, it's not the most specialist frequency matching, but it'll do lots and lots of different. So it's a really great compact solution. And oh yeah, I should probably say, if you couldn't guess, this is a SBC that runs Linux, hence the Doom playing. But that's also been a really nice relationship with Taoglas. They sent us, I think, 12 antennas, so we can play with other boards, including these cloud antennas, which I really like. But I think the Universe always takes the bait. It's just a really beautiful board. Third one is a board which we don't have, and I still don't quite know how to get hold of it, but Korg's new tube board, because I mean, as an audio enthusiast, I love valve technology, and I think that is one of the most disruptive pieces of technology that's come out ever. And I had wanted to be a Korg design engineer since I was 17, after renovating an old Poly6 synthesizer, analog synthesizer. And to be in a position where I'm in a job where I have a partnership with Korg in place and have a direct line of communication with one of their lead R&D people is a dream come true. And also just the ability to be able to talk to so many people in so many companies is crazy. It's a real privilege to work here. So yeah, if that second evaluation board ever comes out for general public release, rather than just developer release, then I'd get one in a heartbeat and play with it and make stuff sound all warm and fuzzy. Number 4, we haven't actually written about this yet, but we got an interview with about it for Hardware Pioneers Max. But Rack Wireless's Wisp block line is so cool. It's kind of like kind of almost Lego-like IoT, all put it together. So the funny thing is that Gavin from Rack Wireless actually visited the office to show us the Wisp block line in person, and on the day I was just not well, and it was on a I can't even shake your hand basis, and Guy sent me home just before he brought out all the tech, so I missed it. And when I saw it in person at Hardware Pioneers Max, that was so cool, because you just put it together. You've got all that connectivity, all the MCU stuff, and you don't have to worry about firmware and stuff. I'd love to have a play with that stuff and make... I mean, I'm not too bothered about the wireless stuff, obviously, in my own projects, although it would be cool to check stuff from my phone, I guess. But I'd love to make like a little temperature and humidity thing for that, because with all the musical instruments I have, I really need to keep a hold of that. In my flat, I remember I lived in a flat once where I couldn't cook pasta because I had analog synthesizers in the same room, and they would go out of concert tuning because of the temperature and humidity change. So yeah, Rack Wireless's Wisp block line is just such a fantastic IoT product for fast prototyping. I want one. And finally, number 5, can't forget, is another really nice relationship that just happened, and we had it in Embedded World, but MoveX's Chicharoni board. This is probably the board I've played with most at work, because you can use it for asset tracking, but it's also got a powerful core, a powerful MCU on there for LoRaWAN. I haven't actually played with the LoRaWAN part of it yet, but Rack Wireless sent us a gateway so we can do a practical demo at some point, so I've got to set the time aside for that. But just, playing with the U-Blocks U-Center is so much fun. It's kind of scarily accurate, and I just really like it. I think it's a really pretty board. I can imagine using it to build fun little stuff at home, and this is a bit of a weird one, but I don't really like breadboards. I never really got on with them, so I really like boards that don't have the headers there. I quite like them when they're just bare, and then I can solder what I want. So yeah, that's 5 my favorite boards.
I know you said head to the ipXchange website to evaluate probably over 100 times, but you're going to have to say it again.
Yeah, so all of these you can apply to evaluate on the ipXchange website, and find out lots more than I'm going to explain when just rattling off what my favorite things about them are. So head to the ipXchange website to evaluate this technology. And an honorable mention has to go to Red Pattaya, just because of, if you haven't watched it already, there's a 45-minute long interview I did with Niku from Red Pattaya that was just mind-blowing on the applications front. So that's honorable mention, but it only doesn't make the cut because I haven't had a person play with it, but I want one. So if you can send one.
Well, happy birthday, Eamon, and here's to another year of researching and sharing disruptive tech.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been great to work with you, Jake. I don't think the team was really in place until you were here.